Hi there. This will probably be a little different. I was a federal employee for 25 years. I retired in '07. And in the last 15 years of my federal career, I spent most of my time haranguing agencies about the clarity of their communication. And one reason I retired was because I thought I could harangue a little more aggressively as a private citizen. And there is a federal plain language group, which is a bunch of people that believe very strongly in the need for government to communicate more clearly. That group started a private sector nonprofit Center for Plain Language. So I'm now the chair of the Center for Plain Language. Let's see what's on the next slide. Okay, so I would say, addressing all of your other issues, that you can do all of this wonderful collaboration and open government, and if you're not speaking or writing in the language of the people that you're talking to, you are wasting your time. And the government, thank you. And the government wastes a lot of time communicating ineffectively. And what we need is a culture change, because the government writers and the government bureaucracy does not assume responsibility for clarity of communications. They assume that it's the responsibility of the citizen to figure out what the hell the government is saying. And it is not the citizen's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the government to speak clearly to the citizen. So, what is plain language? Okay, material is in plain language. Go ahead, just go through these slowly. If people can find what they need, they can understand it, and they can use it to fulfill their needs. Go ahead, let's see what's next. Okay, and they should be able to do it the first time. You may not always make that, but that is certainly your goal. If they can't use what you're writing, you have not achieved plain language. Okay, plain language is audience specific. It's not the lowest common denominator. You have to understand who you're talking to and talk to them that way. Go ahead. And so obviously what's plain language for one might not be plain language for another. And it's not dumbing down. We get accused of dumbing down. If you're writing to a bunch of lawyers and you're a lawyer, then you write the way lawyers need to be communicated to. But frankly, if you ask them, a lot of them don't like the kind of stuff that crosses their desk every day either. Go ahead. And it is precise. There is no conflict between precision and clarity. So here's some techniques, and I won't go over these because we don't have time, but you know, we can always arrange a training class for your office. Go ahead, just go through these. Logical organization, informative headings, active voice, pronouns, lists and tables, stop, common words. Active voice, probably the number one. Get rid of all that passive stuff, take responsibility for what you do. Go ahead. And here's a list of things what not to do. Abbreviations, everybody hates them. Confusing, unnecessary words, that's a big one. You can spend the rest of your life getting rid of unnecessary words. And information the audience doesn't need. Half of what's on government websites is advertisement for the agency. What we did starting in 1976 was bring you blah, blah, blah. Go ahead. And long sentences. A general principle, less is more. Go ahead. Because plain language usually, but not always, helps you be shorter. Go ahead. So here's just a couple examples. Go ahead. It saves time and money. It's really, really important. It can really save time and money for both you and your reader. It gets you better compliance. The government tells people what to do. If you tell them what to do and they don't understand it, they aren't going to do it. It's a very simple principle that the government doesn't seem to understand. And there has been research that shows that people think you're smarter when you write clearly. They don't think that people that use all those big words are necessarily smart. Go ahead. Just two little examples. This was one office in Jackson, Mississippi, decided to rewrite one standard benefits letter. Go ahead. They got significantly fewer calls from customers, and most importantly, more veterans applied for and got benefits because they understood that they were eligible. Go ahead. And here's the statistics about what happened to the number of phone calls when one letter in one office was clarified. Next. This is this goes to the heart of compliance. FCC clarified its radio on pleasure boat regulations, and they had a firm study whether people could understand the new regulations better. Slide. Go ahead. They had both experienced and inexperienced users, and they gave them a little test. You know, read this, answer these questions. And here's what happened to the time it took people to find the answers to the questions. You can see that the new users had the biggest saving. It almost cut their time in half. And you know that that's going to affect the results that you get, because people aren't going to stay there forever looking for the answer. If they don't find it easily, they're going to bail on you. I think, okay, I have one more example, because this is a good one. The Canadian government, you went the wrong way, or this, unless I did the wrong thing. Okay. All right, go to the next slide. They had a big forms project. They revised a lot of forms, and here you see the times they saved. In the first one, staff processing time, 20 minutes down to 3 minutes. Wouldn't you like that kind of savings? Okay, I'm done. I would say that the Obama administration uses the term plain language a lot, and clearly it goes hand in hand with transparency. They haven't said what they're talking about. Actually, go to the next slide. They haven't defined it, and if they don't define it, they aren't going to get it. Click on plainlanguage.gov, and let's see if we can get it up. And there's my email. Here's plainlanguage.gov. We've had this site since, in this form since about 2000, and it's been up since about 95. There's an awful lot of stuff on there, including the definition of plain language. And I would like, you know, distribute this to all your agencies. And if you want to talk to me more, it's hcheek@patriot.net, and I know you can get that back by looking at this online. Okay.